Happy Gilmore 2 comes out today, and in honor of its release, I want to talk about the unbelievable story of how a man who was fired from SNL created 5 legendary comedies in a 4-year span. The time it takes to get an undergraduate degree, this man, Adam Sandler, along with an attorney, a man he grew up with, Tim Herlihy, how they created 5 legendary comedies, propelling Adam Sandler into stardom from an outcast of SNL to a star in Hollywood. This is the unbelievable story of how Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Wedding Singer, The Waterboy, and Big Daddy all were released in a 4-year span. The year is 1995, and Adam Sandler is fired from SNL. Lorne Michaels calls him into the office, says, "Sorry, pal, you're out." So what does Adam Sandler do? Him and his buddy that he grew up with, Tim Herlihy, an attorney in New York City, they write a script, and the script is Billy Madison. So in 1995, Billy Madison is filmed and released, and although not commercially successful, it has grown into being one of the most beloved comedies of all time. Just 1 year later, they release Happy Gilmore. In 1996, Happy Gilmore is released, and again, not met with much commercial success, but has grown into being one of the most beloved comedies of all time to such a degree that today, July 25th, we're seeing a sequel released. How incredible is it, back-to-back years having legendary comedies released, but this is where it gets even crazier. 1998 rolls around, and they have 2 comedic classics released in The Wedding Singer and The Waterboy. And again, I think you're going to notice a trend here, but not the most commercially successful films, but they grew and grew and grew over time, especially back then with VHS and then DVD. These movies became cult classics. And then finally in 1999, a little bit more on the dramatic side, but still a comedy, Big Daddy's released. And Big Daddy anchors this 4-year span of prolific comedic output from the duo of Adam Sandler and Tim Herlihy, 2 childhood friends who made it big, thrusting themselves into stardom, and Adam Sandler became the biggest comedic star in all of Hollywood from these subsequent 5 films. The underlying thread of all these movies, they are movies about an outcast, an oddball, finding himself in the world, becoming the person that he wants to be, becoming comfortable with who he is, getting the girl. That's always a component of these films. Getting the girl, finding who you are, overcoming adversity, and in the end, finding happiness. And that is what makes these movies so beloved. And I think that's what makes a great comedy, is you need that thread running through it of heart. These movies have heart, and that's the best way I can really summarize these 5 movies. They all are bonded in their richness of heart. They all are about family or togetherness or love or friends. They all have that spirit of camaraderie and belonging, and that's what makes these movies so beloved, and I'm sure of it. Billy Madison, the story of a guy that never really grew up. He's so emotionally immature, and his father, the owner of a company, wants to give the company to his son, but he can't trust his son, so his son goes on a quest to prove to his father that he's trustworthy, and when he does prove it in the end, he gives the company to the guy that really deserves it. Happy Gilmore, a guy that has been a hockey failure. He's an outcast. He loves his grandmother more than anything, and he just wants to help his grandmother out, keep her house that her husband built. So what does he do? He goes and plays golf. He overcomes adversity. He beats Shooter McGavin, and he gets the grandma's house back. The Wedding Singer, he's a failed musician who does cover band stuff for weddings. His girl leaves him on the altar. He falls in love. He overcomes adversity. He becomes the person that he wants to be. He writes a beautiful song in the end, performs it, gets the girl, and it's a story about him accepting who he really is and the girl of his dreams falling in love with him instead of the asshole. The Waterboy, a story of an outcast who was emotionally stunted by his mother's smothering love, goes, plays football, is very successful, wins the girl, shows his mom that he needs independence, he needs to be respected, and wins the respect of all the people that thought he was just a social outcast. And then Big Daddy, a guy that's just meandering through life, had all of the capabilities in the world to be successful, but just is too lazy. Then he gets a child thrusted upon him that he thinks is his son. He has to take care of him. They bond. He learns he really does want to be a father, gets the girl, then has a child at the end. It's all of these stories have that common thread of yes, getting the girl, yes, overcoming their adversity and accomplishing things, but they all have the underlying camaraderie of friendship and family and love. And that's what makes these movies so successful. That's what makes the partnership of Adam Sandler and Tim Herlihy so successful. And that's the story of how in 4 years, these two gentlemen pumped out 5 comedic classics. What is your favorite movie out of these 5? What's your ranking of the 5? I'd love to hear it in the comments below. Subscribe if you love movies. I promise to keep pumping out great content. Leave me a comment, leave me a like, and as always, stay tuned for next time. Tay out.